ancient civilizations propagated their culture and values through the telling of stories. Among the oldest storytelling traditions, we find the Jataka Tales, which were told by Buddhists to inspire people with moral values. The Jataka Tales carried strong and inspiring messages of kindness, compassion, generosity, non-violence, self-sacrifice, charity, and the need to abjure greed. The Buddha is featured as the protagonist of each of these stories. They narrate incidents in his previous lives when he was the Bodhisattva. Bodhisattva is a word that refers to the Buddha in his previous lives and also the first half of his present life before he attained enlightenment. Vesantara Jataka. Who hasn't marveled at the story of Shibi, the great and charitable king of Jetutara, who kept giving and giving even at the risk of his own life? In that same line, rich with that same legacy, now comes Prince Vesantara, who is none other than the Bodhisattva himself, born as an embodiment of compassion and charity, who will not say no to a request. On the day that he is born, a white elephant is also born. This elephant, which is named Pachaya, is gifted with a remarkable power to induce rain. At this point of time, Kalinga is a neighboring kingdom which is undergoing a harsh famine. People are dying and there is not a drop to drink. The earth is parched and the sky relentless. People keep looking up expectantly at the sky, but there is no hope anywhere. And so today, 8 Brahmins have been sent to Vesantara's kingdom to ask for the white elephant, which is the only way they can get rain and survive. When they meet the prince with their request, Vesantara is struck by the tragedy of their land. Yes, of course, you can take Pachaya. Let your land and your people prosper, he tells them. But when the people of Jetutara come to hear of this unexpected gift, they are shocked and outraged. Here they are in front of the palace seeking an audience with their king, the prince's father. How can your son donate our precious Pachaya to another kingdom when he is the giver of rain and the reason for our prosperity? They ask the king. Relentlessly, they demand that Prince Vesantara be banished from the kingdom forever. The king is saddened at this request, and this is a land where the wishes of the people are respected. So, with a heavy heart, here is the king giving in to their demand. Prince Vesantara is sent away from the palace and the land and into the forest. His wife Madhi insists on accompanying him along with their children. Here they go, the prince and his wife and the 2 little royal children walking deep into the forest, exhausted and hungry. But the forest is kind, and the beings of the forest welcome the royal family warmly into their midst. Trees extend their generous branches laden with fruit. 2 huts are built for them, one for the prince and his austerities, and the other for his wife and children. The small family lives in complete contentment. The forest is like a benevolent protector, mindful of their every need. Even the wild animals seem to be aware of the power and sanctity of the Bodhisattva, for they leave them alone. The prince, his wife, and the 2 children live in the forest for all of 4 months. And then it happens. One fine day, the prince is in the hermitage along with his children. His wife is away gathering fruits. Seizing the opportunity, an old Brahmin named Jataka visits him with a rather strange request. He asks the prince for his children. Knowing very well that the prince is compassionate and charitable and will not refuse a request, he puts forward his abnormal and cruel appeal and waits quietly for the prince's reply. Jataka's wife has sent him forth to get 2 slaves to do the chores in the house, and the old Brahmin sees this as an excellent opportunity to please her. Now, Prince Vesantara is in a dilemma. His wife is away, and the children are looking on, love and trust shining from their eyes. But the prince has no other option. He offers everything he has, but the Brahmin wants nothing else. He wants to take the children. The prince finally agrees, steeling his heart against this tragedy, and Jataka drags them away, wailing and protesting. When Madi returns, she finds the children missing. She is heartbroken. She searches all over for them and finally goes over to her husband's hut and asks him. Vesantara patiently explains the incident to her. She is shattered, but later she rises to the occasion and remains silent, supporting her husband in this as in all else. In fact, she even consoles her husband, going to the extent of praising his act of charity. Now, this is an unusual reaction from any mother, and no man, however great his altruism, is going to donate his children to a supplicant. The very earth trembles with the power of their sacrifice. At this point, Indra, the lord of the gods, hears of this episode and is completely taken aback. To test the prince further, here he is, come down to earth and to the forest where Prince Vesantara is staying with his wife Madi. Indra dons the garb of a mendicant and comes to his door begging for alms. When Vesantara prepares to oblige him with food, the mendicant adds insult to the injury of a deprived life by asking the prince for his wife instead. The prince does not hesitate. He bows his head in acknowledgement as Madi looks on, her face pale with shock. But then, enough is enough, and Indra reclaims his original form and praises the couple for their compassion and charity, love and loyalty. He promises them 8 boons, including their return to the kingdom and the reunion of their family. Meanwhile, Jataka, the wicked, greedy old man, lands up in the kingdom of Jataka instead of his own land. Here, the palace guards recognize the king's grandchildren and they are restored to the palace. The prince and Madi reunite with their children and resume their life in the palace. But Chaya, the white elephant, also returns to the land since no one is quite able to control it in Kalinga. There is a lot of celebration in the kingdom of Jataka. The chaos is at an end and peace settles. Vidura Pandita Jataka. What happens when 4 men get together and have an argument about who is the most virtuous amongst them? What happens when all 4 are mighty kings with their own mighty kingdoms and their own stubborn views? This is what happened long centuries ago when King Dhananjaya of the Kuru kingdom, Sakka of the Devas, Varuna the Naga king, and Vainateya of the Supannas or Garudas met for a conversation and landed in a hot debate. No one would give up, and each felt he was right. So they decided to call in a mediator. They could think of no one but the wise and just Vidura Pandita, the minister of King Dhananjaya. He was known to be impartial, and they all felt he could be trusted to deliver a true verdict. They went to Indraprastha, the Kuru capital, and sought the opinion of the wise one. Now, here is something else about Vidura Pandita. He was the Bodhisattva, one of the previous births of the Buddha himself. And all the wisdom and compassion that would achieve fruition in the final birth was already present in him in great measure. The kings waited eagerly for Vidura Pandita's verdict, and it came. There is no lesser or greater virtuousness in you. You are all equal. Just as the 4 spokes of a wheel are equal to make the circle complete, so are you equal in your virtue. The kings were greatly pleased to hear this. They praised him and rewarded him handsomely. The Naga king Varuna was so happy that he removed a jewel hanging around his own neck and presented it to the wise man. This is the background to the story we are now about to see. We accompany Varuna back to his own kingdom. In the palace, his wife, Vimala, notices her husband's necklace missing, and she wants to know why. Varuna narrates the story of the debate and how it was resolved. Thinking of a way to meet the wise one, she entreats her husband, "Please fetch me the heart of Vidura Pandita. I must have it immediately." Of course, she isn't being cruel. It is simply a ruse to get Vidura Pandita here. Pretending to be ill, she adds that if he truly loves her, he should grant her this one wish. Now, around the time of this conversation, a celestial being, Punnaka, the Yaksha king, is flying over the Naga kingdom on his white winged horse. Happening to look down, he notices the princess Indranti seated alone on a flower-bedecked swing in the royal garden, humming to herself. The song is so melodious and the girl is so enchantingly beautiful that the Yaksha king loses his heart to her, as often happens in such cases. Without another thought, Punnaka descends and dismounts and walks up to the lovely princess. He introduces himself to her and professes his love all in the same breath. Indranti is shy at first and then charmed by his attentions and finds herself returning his love. Now, all it takes is to put forward his suit to the king, her father. This should have gone well because the Yakshas are superior to the Nagas and there is no reason for the king to reject his daughter's suitor. And yet, King Varuna is hesitant. He cannot come to a decision. He asks for time to think over this sudden proposal. The king consults his minister, who considers the situation. This is too good to be true. 2 birds with 1 stone, he thinks gleefully. Actually, the minister is intensely jealous of Vidura Pandita, the minister at Indraprastha, with whom he is often compared unfavorably. This seems to be a ready-made solution to eliminate his wise rival. O king, you have told me of the queen's strange request to get her the heart of Vidura Pandita. That isn't such an easy task. Let the young Yaksha king attempt to do it for you. If he can, he is definitely worthy of the princess. The king is happy. He has been worried about his ailing queen. When Punnaka hears of the challenge, he accepts heartily. He rushes to Indraprastha and, knowing King Dhananjaya's weakness for gambling, he goads him to a game of dice. As his stake, he puts up his magnificent white horse and a wondrous gem with unique powers. Well, to cut a long game short, the king loses, and the wise man Vidura Pandita is surrendered to Punnaka as his prize. On the way back to the Naga kingdom, Punnaka tries to kill his captive in order to secure his heart for his prospective mother-in-law. But Vidura Pandita simply doesn't die. In fact, Punnaka's sword breaks in 2. Amazed by this, Punnaka offers to return him to Indraprastha, but Vidura Pandita prefers to accompany him to the Naga kingdom first. Here, the jealous old minister is a little worried to see his rival appear in the palace rather than his heart, but everyone else is happy. Queen Vimala is overjoyed to see the wise Vidura Pandita. The wise one discourses to the royal couple and they listen in rapt attention. What else? The lovely princess Indranti is married to the brave Yaksha king Punnaka. Punnaka hands over the wondrous gem with unique powers to Vidura Pandita, who now possesses the 2 most admired jewels of that time, the one from the Naga king and this one from Punnaka. And thus ends the story of yet another life of the Bodhisattva.